Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. A massive update on the Tier 2 side today. We have our first team from the Americas qualifying to the Ascension tournaments coming up rather soon. We're going to dive into that, but also of the teams that didn't make it, rumours emerging many of them will be looking to depart from the Challengers ecosystem. Could G2 be among them? We do have the first scout with Mad Lions deciding to depart as well. Very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. There's this funny voice chat bug going around at the moment as well, which has been causing a lot of entertainment. There's also changes to the game itself, so the accessories store is arriving very soon indeed. The shop is going to refresh every week. There's going to be player cards, sprays, buddies, titles in there. There's going to be these kingdom credits you can get to purchase items, so pretty interesting new format here that they're bringing in. There's also this progression system update, so with episode 7 these kingdom credits arrive that you earn by playing games, and then you can unlock those during events. So you can unlock the agents normally as you normally would, but you can also unlock them through these events starting with the next agent. So very interesting concept, and also as expected, agent gear and accessories can be purchased directly. So I'm guessing this is going down a route of actually bringing in some degree of agent skins. We expect it to happen eventually. I even mentioned it the other day that this is, a possibility, and it's probably going to happen at some point. So we'd expect it's going to happen relatively soon. So I think you could expect this to happen in the near future. Most people seem relatively satisfied with the way that Riot are going with the development of this one. Also wanted to mention here, no Bagador of the week actually from Noyan, but instead the most improved player of the Americas goes to Con. His first card was a 74 rating. Now he gets an 88 rating. So really cool to see, and he of course is going to be out there in Tokyo right now, and it's even better for EG because Demon 1 gets to go along. He made it out there just last minute. No update on Something as of yet for Paper X. Of course, Something and Paper X did win the playoffs in the Pacific side, so they have a bye through to the playoff bracket. So they have a few more days is what I'm getting at here, right? Because we've got the first stage of the tournament that happened in a few days' time, but then the second stage of the tournament is a few days, 5-6 days delayed from that. So there is more time for them to hopefully get something situation sorted, but it's far from guaranteed, right? EG, I think, did a great job turning around the Demon 1 situation, and maybe EG can cause some serious damage here as they have been doing in the Americas recently. They just got to Tokyo Evil Geniuses as well themselves, as Ethan says. Surprised Chet hasn't tweeted about this LAN yet, right? So every single LAN event that we go to, Chet, the coach of course, NRG, has something to say. Often it's been about the fact that, you guys remember when the coaching room was way far away from where the players were, and there were other frustrations that the coaches have had with the setup of these LANs. So we'll see if Chet has any ideas on that over the coming days. Looking forward to seeing if that is indeed the case. But let's talk Tier 2, because one of the big stories of the last few days has been what's going to happen in that system going forwards. Mad Lions got relegated, right? They got pretty close to making it, but they went down in the end, and therefore these guys are now free. Blackheart's Trick, etc. Narrate as well is probably their most promising player. I thought he was particularly good in watching the matches recently, but yeah, so he is officially free, and they're now gone. So this is expected, right? I mean, the team got relegated. Mad Lions aren't just going to keep them salaried around and just work some roster changes, keep them for 6 months and hope they qualify again. The strategy will most likely be for these organizations, simply wait it out until what happens in next season's qualifiers. The two teams that qualify, plus potentially Turtle Troop that have re-qualified themselves already, will be signed somewhere or another, you would think at least. But the problem is for those players, they're going to have effectively 6 months of no salary. There's really nothing to play. There's not much to do. They just have to hope that they can get signed next season. So this is where we run into these issues where Mad Lions are releasing their team. I would expect Disguise to do the same over the coming days as well. DSG, they got relegated. You'd think that's probably going to be the end for them shortly as well, and it's not just Mad Lions that will consider this. Now, I do want to mention a bit of drama here, as expected, because there's always drama in Tier 2 NA challenges. Trick says, learned a lot this season. We were unable to achieve the bare minimum with this roster, and they supported us all the way through, and that's the thing, Mad Lions had a pretty good roster last year, and this year, they're nowhere to be found, unfortunately. Big thanks to the org and the staff for that. It was a pleasure to play with everyone and learn from the different perspectives and coaches had. You'll see all of us again. Now, Mr. Funhaver, actually, comes in the replies here and says, basically links him to Indeed, right, Indeed.com, where you can find a job. So saying, oh, you're unemployed now, mate, unlucky type thing, which is, not really the best thing to tweet in the reply to someone who has effectively just lost his job. Let's be honest, right? It's still going to be hurting a fair bit for Trick and the guys. So then Trick comes back with this, which is just absolutely fantastic. I can't can't verify the validity of any of these claims, but I'm just going to present them as is because it's entertaining. Mr. Funhaver having underage kids drinking on his property, paying for his friends to be friends with him, hating on Twitter all day, and then making twitlogs about being a failure at life. I wonder why. I wonder why your team was so bad you had to cancel scrims because you couldn't get around. I wonder why you hate life. Maybe it's because you're the cancer in your life. You have a skill issue in more than Valorant. You have a skill issue in life. You try and keep me when I'm down and expect nothing in return. You're a sociopathic freak. And then he goes on to say this, look at you, you're talking about mental health and go out of your way to try and bring me down. So I mean, that's like a really quick, absolutely wild turn. So we're just going to leave it there for now, but I just thought that was just too funny not to mention, to be honest. I don't know who's right, I don't know who's wrong. But still, I hope those guys can focus up and figure it all out. But this is the other piece of the puzzle, right, as George Geddes says, that hearing some challenger teams are already planning to their exit from the tier 2 scene, and shortly, I think before or after this, then Mad Lions already announced it. This is unfortunately inevitable, and I do wonder how many organizations are actually going to stay. If you're a G2 as it stands, they just failed to make it. Yes, they're going to be there next season. They didn't get relegated or anything. Their organization is still going to be there, but would they, you know, their team needs changes. They need a rebuild, right? They're going to have to do some things. Will they keep salarying this roster on a pretty high salary? They would have expected these guys to make it further, potentially make it to the Ascension tournament that other teams are presently doing. Will they keep them around? I don't know. They'll have to make a decision on that. And the other organizations as well, TSM. I wonder if we're going to see a lot of those orgs depart from challengers in the very near future and then return in 6 months' time, because like 6 months worth of salaries for 5 players plus a coach is not exactly cheap. And look, the organizations will feel like, well, you know, the players did a fair bit for us, but there is no loyalty in esports at the end of the day, especially with the esports winter or whatever we are currently going through. And as Dazzle says, and I can understand why, because you know, these guys need money to support themselves. They've got to pay bills, they've got to pay rent and this type of stuff. And as Dazzle says, excited to announce that Turtle Troop is willing to partner with any shady organization. Money launderers, drug money, offshore casinos, we don't care. Blood diamonds, no morals here. We accept it all DMs open. And he can't, obviously he's kind of joking, right? But I mean, still, it's pretty funny and it makes sense from their perspective that tier 2 organizations need some people to support them. And right now it's probably not going to be happening, especially with Mad Lions gone. Other organizations are going to follow suit. Some orgs, though, in a very different position. M80, they made it last night. What a great result. Also, we'll mention here, we've got Psycho on the couch with his shoes on for some reason. But anyway, he's here with, you know, your boy from M80. So this is the debate, whether Psycho could potentially be a part of this team going forward, or whether that is not going to be the case. And look, they got the job done. They played Moist Moguls yesterday, as expected, I think, in a real pressure moment. Moist Moguls are pretty good, don't get me wrong. They're a good team, and I think they have a great chance to qualify still. But M80 have been almost smurfing in this league, to be honest. Like, they had a bit of a slump right towards the end, but when it really mattered, they turn it around. 2-0 versus Moist Moguls, and that is them qualified to the Ascension playoff qualification tournament coming up soon. It's a great result for them. Lotus was 13-10, big comeback second half, and then Fracture 13-5. And yeah, I mean, this team has been outrageous for a very long period of time. Sim didn't have his greatest series, but Moist Moguls, I think, you know what, we've got one more chance, and that chance is coming up tonight. The results of M80 as well have been super impressive, right? I mean, look at their recent results, right? They lost this series to Shopify Rebellion, but outside of that, they haven't lost since back in March, which is, I mean, it's really impressive, and they've been smurfing really in this league, as I say. So they've made it through to the Ascension tournament. They are one of the 2 North American teams that will attend, and they are arguably should be the favourites to qualify when they get there, but it's not yet guaranteed. One more team will go from the North American side as well. It could be the Guard, who would have been the favourites for the majority of the season. They took down Auction and Esports last night, 2-0 for them. This was again not especially competitive, 13-9 and then 13-3 on the end of Lotus. So you know, tough time for Mitch, especially. Mitch and Redux had, okay, Redux had an okay time, but yeah, Roston and Mitch had a really difficult series right when they needed to have a good one, and that leaves the bracket like this. So here we go. It's funny really, because I don't care who wins the grand finals. What I'm really interested in is who's going to win the lower finals. That comes up today, 9 PM at British Summer Time, 4 PM Eastern, etc. etc, etc. You guys can work it out from there. But yeah, Moist Moguls versus the Guard. This is, of course, a rematch from when they played a few days ago. Moist Moguls won that series. I don't know if they'll win it again. I hope that they do. I'd love them to. I think it'd be a great storyline, and I think I will predict them to win this 2-1. I think they're just about going to get the job done, but often the rematches have a far higher likelihood of going the way for the team that lost the first time. So it's a really exciting one. This is such an important game because if you win this, you give yourselves a shot to qualify up to the main franchising league. So one of the biggest games of these guys' life, to be honest, coming up today. And as Nismo says, it's not luck, it's not random. The reason why M80 won, number 1 in Split 1, number 1 at the MSI, number 1 in the groups in Split 2, qualify for Brazil Ascension, hard work pays off. He also gave some comments on Oxygen and said that if they had better spacing and more people entering other than Mitch and Redux, they'd actually be a good team. So, you know, pretty funny stuff. And as Xander says in the replies, we just made Brazil and we're already criticizing other teams, but yes, Oxygen, they fall short in the ends, and, you know, who will M80's key competitors be come that Ascension tournament in Brazil? There are some good teams down there as well, but they will, I'm sure, be the favourites. We'll see though what happens, because who knows who wins between Moist Moguls and the Guard, and then if they were to beat M80 in the finals, then things would get, well, very entertaining going into the big one in a short amount of time. But very much enjoyed to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.